Hello, hello, and welcome. Hope you are having a great day. If you are watching this from sunny Tulsa or inside the United States, welcome. We are so glad to have you here today. If you're watching from abroad, let's say Germany, herzlich willkommen. Ich hoffe, alles gut. I have a special guest with me if you can't tell. And if you're listening to us on podcast, you probably can't, but you will hear later on. I have a special guest. I will introduce the special guest in a moment. But thank you for taking the time to join the pursuer community as we are pursuing success in our purpose. Purpose is the key, and that's what we're after. So, with that being said, our topic today is what if you said no? What if you said no? And our special guest is none other than my beautiful wife, Lori Randolph.
You're too funny.
She is my beautiful wife. She is here, and that is
Awesome!
so great to have her on today. She'll be talking with us as we get the opportunity to talk about what it means to say no. So, if it's your first time here, welcome. If it's your millionth time, almost a million.
Okay.
If it's your millionth time here, thank you for being a part of the community. We're so excited to have you. Let's go ahead and get into it. What if you said no, my beautiful wife?
Again.
Talk about what it means from your perspective to say no. Like, what does that mean, especially in the context of our current day, our current world? What does it mean to say no?
Well, you think it's a simple
Mhm.
word. However, it is a very necessary word. For me, I'm such a people pleaser.
Yeah.
And a problem solver. So
You
if
are.
I see a problem, I want to solve that problem and feel accomplished that I solved that problem.
Mhm.
However, I'm learning and continuing to learn, and I've gotten a lot better at it,
You have.
that not all problems are meant for myself to solve.
Mm.
And so, with that, by saying no, it frees up my time, my energy, my thoughts to not pursue that, and therefore be able to open up a different part of my brain, as in creativity and other areas that I can pursue.
I love it. I love it. And saying no really does, like you said, I'm going off what you said,
Mhm.
it opens up your time to actually do what you're here for, do
Right.
what your purpose is here for. And if you're always saying yes to everyone, everything,
Every problem.
every problem, you're not able to do exactly what you're here for. It's like getting, getting in your car and driving somewhere. If you know you have your destination
hmm
and then you get sidetracked by everything else, you're never going to get to your destination. Yeah, you're always just kind of going every way that every other turn. So let's talk about how to say no. Okay. So let's say, how do you know what to say no to? What, from your perspective, how do you know what to say no to?
Um, that is a great question. And by all means, I have not mastered that whatsoever. But in getting better at it, um, sometimes it's a, hey, this is not for me right now. Sometimes
Hmm.
it's a flat out no.
Yeah.
Um, there's been recent situations where I need you to, no, I can't do that.
Hmm.
Um, and sometimes my silence is a no.
Yeah.
Whether it be for confrontation or anything like that, a lot of times I will get quiet, but it's because I'm choosing not to engage in the situation.
Hmm.
Um, and it's not to coward or anything like that. It's just that particular confrontation is not worth my time or my energy. So, um, again, the silence is a no as well. It's like, I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to entertain in whatever this is going towards, this conversation
Yeah.
or any of it. And then sometimes it's um, hey, I've prayed about it and I've taken this and it's something that I don't need to do. And again, I'm not always the best at that because I like to be the yes person. I like to be the person. But sometimes we get into our mind and we get this savior complex of, I
Talk
can
about
save
that.
this situation, and it's not for you to save.
Mm, mm. I have to say this right here. That was crazy what she just said. Sometimes we try to save people and it ends up costing us.
Hmm.
Wow, that's so good. Because if we're not careful, we will try to save everyone else. Even like on the airlines, how they tell you put your mask on first
Right.
before you try to save anyone else. And the reason I have to say that is because somebody else is trying to save someone else and not taking care of themselves.
Absolutely.
So your no preserves you. It preserves your
Hmm.
mental health, your spiritual health, your emotional health. Because if you say yes to everything, you really don't value anything at all.
Right.
Wow.
Or yourself.
So true. So true. And as we're talking about like purpose and becoming who, I personally believe who God has called you to be,
Hmm.
the more you are able to say no to the right things,
Right.
yeah, it opens the door for a yes to the things that you need in your life, the
Hmm.
right friendships, the right
Absolutely. Yeah.
opportunities, the right doors. And so, talk about this. What what would one piece of advice you would give to someone who is saying, "All right, how do I say no to a good opportunity, not a bad opportunity, but a good opportunity? How do I say no to that?"
That is, easier said than done.
Yeah, true.
Um, because I remember a few years back, I had a good opportunity come my way.
Uh huh.
And, I was not at a point where I had learned this that I've learned now.
Hmm.
And I took it. And I
Mm,
feel like I went down, it was a good opportunity. It opened so many doors. I learned a lot,
hmm.
but it almost cost me my marriage.
Hmm.
It almost cost me my sanity in
Hmm.
many, many ways. And it did cost me many friendships.
Hmm.
Um, and then, you know, listening and discerning it and taking that time to walk away from it.
Yeah.
And then watching the steps be ordained after that. And
Hmm.
then a redemption process happened after that as well
Yeah.
with my marriage, with
Yeah.
everything, with my family.
Yeah.
And but I learned so much in that. So now it might sound like a good opportunity,
Hmm.
but is it the right opportunity?
Yeah.
Because is it playing into, and is it adding into who you're called to be and you're destined to be?
Yeah.
Or is it just a good money maker? Because
Mm.
that will fade quickly.
Come
Um,
on.
money comes and goes.
Hmm.
Um, but is it something that is going to be edifying and keep you on what I call your railroad track for life?
Hmm.
Because if we get distracted and we say, "Oh, this is a good opportunity, I'm going to go here," you end up in a detour that takes you longer to get there than you could have in the first place.
Yeah.
And whereas if you were just patient and doing what you're supposed to do, then you would be right where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there. And I think a lot of times we were talking about, you know, um, just our decisions. We failed to realize how much those decisions affect everybody else, not just
That's
ourselves.
true. That's true.
And so if you take a derailment, you don't know what that causes. Almost like a pilot. Think about that. You're
Yeah.
driving your car and you get distracted from going onto your destination. The next thing you realize is you caused a pileup because you got distracted, you hit something, and then the car behind you hits you, and then it just snowballs into to beyond that.
Bigger.
So,
Yeah.
but if you would have said, no, I'm going to stay focused on what I know I'm supposed to be doing right now,
Hmm.
then not only does it keep you in check,
Yeah.
it keeps many people following you and those around you in check.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Let's give her a clap for her honesty. And I really appreciate that because I like the perspective of seeing the car crash and the pileup
Hmm.
because that is there's a lot of car crashes and pileups in people's lives, situations,
Absolutely.
because they didn't say no to something.
Hmm.
They said yes to the wrong opportunity because of money, um, maybe the acclaim
Right.
or whatever situation. And it ended up costing not just them, but many other people because of a
Right.
situation. And that's why I think it's so important, as we're talking, we talk about here in our community, is pursuing that purpose, knowing why, knowing who
Hmm.
you are. Like if someone tried to offer me something outside of my coaching, I'd be like, hey, that's cool, thank you, but that's not who I am. I could do
Thanks for
it.
thinking of me.
Thanks for thinking of me. Smile.
But no.
But no, because right now I'm in my window. You know what I mean? And when you're in your personal like lane, like you were saying,
Uh-huh.
your railroad track, man, like you're able to move at a different pace and momentum than if you try to do somebody else's.
Right.
So let's one more question. Let's talk about okay. So let's say how do you steward your no? And I'll give you an example. And I'll give everybody an example, then I'll let you go after that. Is we've had to learn in our relationship how to steward our no to make sure we have a date night every week.
Right.
So we look at our calendar. This week it's Thursday,
Hmm.
right? Make sure.
Yes.
Yeah, just kidding. um, we make sure that we steward that so that we have time together
Hmm.
because we've seen the cost of when we don't have time together.
It is not good,
It's not a good.
especially because both of us are high in quality time.
Yeah. So we have to steward our no that we put in the calendar. This will be our date night.
Hmm.
And when it's our date night, we need to do it this week. I didn't put it this week. I forgot.
We put
Usually
it
I
on our
do.
calendar.
Usually I put it in the calendar. But we put it in the calendar so that if anybody tries to plan us on Thursday at 6 to 9, it's a no
Hmm.
because that's our time. And, what it does is set standards where because she's my best friend and I value her and she values me. So
Right.
we make time for each other so that one of us isn't running on empty and we're not sacrificing each other for
Hmm.
somebody else's when they should have said no to something
Right.
or where they should have said, "Oh, I'll do it at a later date." And just because they want to do it right now doesn't mean that we have to say yes to it.
Right.
So how do you steward? What's another way you could steward a no?
Um. Well, I mean, in that context too, is prioritizing as well,
Prioritizing. Okay.
and you know, stewarding. I mean, a no is a no. There's no nice way to say it sometimes, and many times people will get their feelings hurt because you told them no. Because
Especially the first time. First or second time, they'll be a
exactly,
little bit offended. You'll be
and
all right.
we live in such a offensive society anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't like the way they looked at me. I didn't like the ways they said no. And it's like, well, you've got to do, like how I said, the priorities. If it's not benefiting you, if you're married, if it's not benefiting your relationship, because there's times that I have to look at Anthony and I go, hey, listen, I'm gonna go drive for a little bit because I do need that, prayer time by myself. But 90% of the time, it's we're a priority, and the first thing I would say is, what is your priorities?
Hmm.
What is it? Because if you're saying yes to everything, you need to sit there and go, and y'all, I'm not perfect by any means. So I have to do this weekly
I
and
would
go
never know that she's not perfect. Just saying.
and go, okay, what do I really need to say no to right now?
Mm,
And,
that's good.
we are in a community now out here in Tulsa where things are planned almost monthly in advance.
Hmm.
So we had to take our step and go, okay, Thursdays are our nights. And then if for some reason something changes, we say, okay, what are we blocking off here and who do we have to tell no to make sure we're a priority?
Yeah.
And so time management is a big thing with that, is going, all right, is it that important to you or are you just afraid to hurt somebody's feelings? And
Woo!
I say that because I'm terrified of hurting people's feelings. Um, and I'm always willing to sacrifice my sleep, my time to make someone else happy. And I've finally gotten to a place, I'm not gonna say my age, but I finally got to a place in my life where I'm like, I it's not that I don't care, because I do love people and I love people a lot. I like to be around people all the time.
That's true.
But I had to take a step back and go, where is this on my trajectory of life? Is this where I'm supposed to be doing? Because I have other goals, I have things I want to do, but yet my time's so filled with people pleasing that who, who do I have to say no to, and who am I going to piss off? I mean, I hate to say it that way, and I don't know, that's a bad word at this point, but
No.
who are we going to
Come on.
make mad? Who? Because I guarantee I do it all the time, and at this point anyway. But you just got to be okay with it.
Yeah. You have to come to the place of I'm gonna prioritize for what I personally believe.
Mhm.
Myself, yeah. My relationship with the Lord,
Right,
myself, my marriage, things, however they
right,
need to go. And those things can change.
right,
It's like a pyramid. Yeah. How I see it is like a pyramid. So if I prioritize the things that should be below my relationship with the Lord, me
mhm,
personally, my wife, like, that triangle, if I flip it upside down, something's going to get crushed.
right,
It may be me, maybe you, my
mhm,
relationship with the Lord, but something's going to have to cost. Like my mom would say this, or I think she would say this, nothing is free.
no,
Yeah. So every
mhm,
decision it costs. And
right,
so if you're not willing to say no, just know it's gonna come out of your account regardless.
right. And that account you don't get to put back in.
Yep, yep, yep. So
That's
man, this has been good.
it. It reminds me of when I was working on my master's in business. I was in a class, and the professor, I can't even remember what class it was, but he had spent a whole class talking about the value of your time.
Yeah.
And he said, if I offered you, like, basically, what is your cost? If I offered you $10, and this was,
Ooh.
2015, if I offered you $10 an hour to go flip burgers, not that flipping burgers are bad,
No.
not at all. Um,
Respect.
so, um, if I offered you that amount right now while you're in a master's program, would you do it? And, everybody kind of looked at each other and was like, well, no. And he said, well, if I only gave you $10 an hour to go grocery shopping for somebody. And of course, everybody was like, okay, what are you talking about? And by the end of it, he's like, well, what if I paid you $100 to do it? And so you can see people start thinking, and the whole concept was, what's your cost? What is
Hmm.
the cost of your time
Yeah.
and your value to yourself? Is this worth my time? So as you are investing into yourself,
Yeah.
is that worth your time, what you're investing into? I mean, I am so guilty every night of just scrolling. But then now I'm like, oh, I could actually be listening to an audiobook, or I could be doing something else. And again, that time, it resets every day, but
You don't
you
get it back.
can't you don't get that time back. You may get it back in knowledge, you may get it back in everything, but other items, but you're not gonna get that time back.
Yeah.
And so the biggest thing is like by saying no to certain things, you're freeing up that time to really back invest back into yourself.
Wow. Well, guys, you heard it here. You heard it here. Um, can't get it back.
You can't get it back.
So say no a lot. Hey,
Just to the right things though.
yeah,
And that's only something that you're gonna be able to discern.
that's true. That's true. Well, this has been fun. I've had a lot of time, a lot of fun moments already. I believe this is really going to bless people's life. Take the time to go ahead. Ooh, time. There we go. We just talking about that. To share this with somebody that you know it will bless their life, change their life, maybe give them a different perspective. Would you be
Mhm.
opposed to sharing this with one friend? One friend. I believe that this will change their life. The stuff they heard today from her alone, phew, telling you, she's got something special. She's my girl.
Thanks, babe.
Anyways, well, we love you guys. Hope you have an excellent rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.